That don't know me, I'm a Cambridge farmer from a bit further north, up near Peterborough, also head of soils for Innovation for Agriculture and the Royal Agricultural Society. And I've been asked to give a sort of brief farmer's perspective on where we might be going with soils and where interest is developing. I think we'd probably all recognise that as farmers, soil is one of our most important resources, and that actually it means different things to different people, but effectively it's the potential we've got to grow our systems on, grow our farming systems on and feed the populace and look after nature. I think we probably all recognise that soil delivers a whole range of different functions and what are now called ecosystem services, both in terms of regulating water, regulating biodiversity, helping with productivity, etc. The challenge for us is that as farmers we don't farm alone, and those flows and impacts both come onto the farm and go off the farm, and when, as Chris has already said about sort of natural capital, whether that be water or biodiversity or some of the negatives like pollution, they both flow through the farm and on the farm and off the farm. So there's a challenge there for us to think about how we connect with our neighbours and within the sort of wider catchment. But whether those natural capital elements of clean air, water, flooding, whatever you like to talk about, are on or off farm, they have a material impact upon how our farming businesses function. And one of the challenges for us as farmers is that this natural capital, or indeed soil, doesn't really appear on the balance sheet of our farming businesses. It's not in our conversation in terms of the economic metrics, which are just as important as the other metrics. And just out of interest, I flicked through the two Bibles, John Nick's and ABC, in the last couple of days, and if you flick to the front, you won't find soil and you won't find carbon in the index. Equally, if you go to the back, you won't find soil or carbon. So soil and carbon is not part of our balance sheet calculations, and I think it should be, because it's the fundamental resource on which we farm. So there's an opportunity. You're all here today on a fairly inclement, cold winter's day. There's increasing interest in soils. I trained as a soil scientist 27 years ago, and I've given my right and left arm to get 100 people in the room to talk about soils 20 years ago. Now there's a lot more interest. So I think there's an inertia within farming, a recognition that soils are more important at a farm level, and that's also replicated at a political level. So I think it's incumbent upon us as farmers to try and make sure we've got the right knowledge and skills, because our government and our political leaders are going to require us to manage our soils better, for sure, and it's in our interest to do so.